Hi guys, and welcome to the Webseries Digest. This is episode 5, Transmedia. My guests today are...
I'm Shannen Mickelson, and I made The Adventures of Jamie Watson, Sherlock Holmes, and Hamlet the Dame, and the cinematic masterpiece of Eddy Rex.
And I'm Jennifer Catania, and I made Notes by Christine. And I helped with some of that stuff, but other than that, I'm just here.
You were in The Adventures of Jamie Watson and Sherlock Holmes, and The Uncanny Upshurs, and Hamlet.
Yeah.
And once upon a time, you wrote an amazing novel called The Dream.
That's not relevant.
Catania, which you can still find on Amazon.
No, I'm just here.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about transmedia. Let's start with saying, what is transmedia?
What is media?
That's too existential.
Nobody knows.
I just kicked the microphone. Wow, I'm great at this podcast thing. So transmedia is essentially social media accounts that tie into the greater story that your web series is telling. Mm-hmm. Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which we've talked about a lot about, being in previous episodes, being the original literary inspired web series, is really the one that started the transmedia trend. I think. I don't know if there was really any shows before that did Twitter accounts for each character and Tumblr accounts for each character, and all tied in.
If there was, it wasn't the same immersive.
Yeah, it wasn't on this scale
experience.
At any rate.
And since the show was vlog too, it was you can pretend it's all real.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of...
And Lizzie Bennet had social media accounts that I didn't know existed until years later. Jane had a lookbook. I didn't know about that because it was just they had all these things that you just had to stumble across and be
yeah, they
whoa.
had way more layers than people ever realized. Did they have an Instagram?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think that was before Instagram.
Wow.
I feel like it
old
was.
Already?
Or before Instagram got big.
Yeah, this would have been 2012, 2013.
Let me do some Googling while you keep talking.
Yeah, so Shannon's going to Google and see kind of when Instagram took off versus when Lizzie Bennet Diaries was airing.
But Instagram is also a harder social media thing to incorporate because you have to have all these pictures of the actors doing things that aren't just screen caps from the videos.
Yeah.
That's boring.
I always thought that Instagram would be a really interesting platform for transmedia, but it's just a lot more work. But I feel like it'd be a lot of fun.
Some people have used it, but yeah, if you could use it well. Instagram started in October 2010, so it existed. But
it existed, but I don't think it took off until much later. So that's what transmedia is. I think it's fallen out of popularity a little bit with web series more recently because I think it just got to be too much. And we've talked about in previous episodes about kind of running a one-person show and how small your crew will be, that sort of thing. And I think that's definitely part of it, is that Lizzie Bennet Diaries had a much larger crew than I think.
They had a person that just did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not going to have that probably with the web series that you're making. It's probably just going to be you. So if you start trying to run multiple, even just multiple Twitter accounts, you can do it. But at some point, they're going to get neglected. I can think Adventures of Jamie Watson and Sherlock Holmes. Jamie had a Tumblr. Her sister Hannah had a Tumblr. Jamie, Sherlock, Moriarty all had Twitters.
The Tumblrs, I just stopped using.
Yeah, the Tumblrs got completely abandoned. Jen actually ran the Moriarty Twitter, and that's what made me decide to put her on this episode, to be perfectly honest.
But she also did a bunch of stuff for Notes by
I
Christine.
was about to say, Jen, talk a little bit about the transmedia you did for Notes by Christine.
So, Notes by Christine, we had, the official Tumblr, which isn't part of the transmedia, but we actually had, a Tumblr for the D character. But it was super... Yeah, it was, super underground. It wasn't updated that often because, just in general, that character wasn't the kind of person that would, like, constantly updating, like, a Tumblr. But it was just very, I don't want to say underground, because that makes it sound hipster, and it's not. But you had to, like, dig for it. But then we also had Twitter's...
I can't believe Dee was a hipster.
I mean... I think he was, like, actually literally underground rather than a hipster.
He was both.
But we had Twitter accounts for Christine, Ralph, Meg, and the Phantom. But then we also had the second YouTube channel for the Phantom, which wasn't really, like, the official web series channel. Which, for that, the transmedia aspect was that he was commenting on the official YouTube's page, just supposedly as a random fan who was, like, also watching these.
Which, I think that's really cool, and, like, I can't think of another web series that's done that, where they've had, like, I know people who have had multiple webs, or multiple channels, but not that really interacted.
No, there are people...
Other than, like, in the video being like, I saw
there are people on Tumblr who was like, this is my favorite part of this series, that the Phantom's, like, creepily commenting on all this girl's videos. Like...
Yeah. And it makes sense.
There was a little bit of that in Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which is before Notes by Christine, with Maria, right? Who,
Charlotte's sister?
Like, was a fan of Lizzie's videos and would occasionally, like, in some of the Q&As and stuff, she sent in questions and stuff, and I think there was.
Yeah.
I don't know if she ever commented directly on the videos, though, but I do vividly remember her sending in a Q&A question.
Huh. See, I didn't even know that.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I never watched Maria's things.
I did watch hers. I watched all of them, because I was, like, watching it. By the time that I picked up Lizzie Bennet Diaries was, like, right after Darcy had made his first appearance. Yeah. So by that point, there was, like, master posts. So I was able to watch it all the way through. In the order of the, you know, how the videos mesh together.
I think that's also when I watched it.
Yeah. Anyway, so, so definitely, that was, like, what started Transmedia. In web series was Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and then, like I said, I think it's just kind of fallen out of favor.
And I think part of it isn't just that it's hard for creators to keep up with it. I think it's hard for fans to keep up with it. And Transmedia, like, even more than the web series itself, it's if people aren't engaging with it, then there's really no point. Like, because that's the point, is to interact with fans that way. But if no one is interacting, then it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to put in all that work just for nothing.
Yeah.
No one to see it. Because people are going to seek that out, especially later on when the show's done. People are just going to watch the show and aren't going to necessarily read all the social media.
I was going to say, I was kind of surprised by how much people actually did interact with the Twitter accounts, especially when, like, Christine and Notes by Christine was going through a bunch of stuff. People would tweet, like, are you okay? Like, what's happening? Or when I really liked tweeting as Moriarty. I don't remember who I tweeted at, but I scared her to death, and I'm kind of sorry, but it was awesome. Like, it was so funny.
I know.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was really good.
My favorite part, the Moriarty tweets you did, was when you tweeted the lyrics to Itsy Bitsy Spider backwards.
That was such a fun account to run.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm, like, low-key a psychopath.
Yeah, I'm just, like, we recently, like, read all those tweets aloud to Nicole, because she didn't, like, know that you ran it or that it existed.
Really?
And she was just like, what?
Wait, now I want to reread it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Actually, don't hold on. You
didn't tweet that much, because then she died, so.
Very sad.
She got hacked recently, though.
Oh yeah, because I tweeted something from it.
To tie into some bonus canon.
Yeah, that I have not explained.
That might go up one day.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, Taj watched social media. I mean, you already kind of listed it. Mary had a Tumblr, too. I don't think you mentioned that. And a Twitter.
I completely forgot that Mary had a Tumblr.
And a Twitter.
Completely forgot about both of those.
Yeah. Yeah, Eliza got a Twitter, which mostly Cassie ran, at least in the beginning.
That.
Yeah, I think that was all of them. There were some people, like, later on, I was like, I kind of wish I had made them a Twitter or something, but it's fine.
No, it's fine, yeah.
Because, again, there wasn't, like, there were people who interacted, but not enough for me to be like, oh, I should have done more. Yeah. Oh, should
This is really creepy.
Hamlet?
Yeah.
That was a big one.
These Moriarty tweets.
No sounds. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm a serial
Your
killer,
tweets?
guys. Like, huh.
So for Hamlet, I wasn't gonna do any social media because I was like, it's not worth it. But then I really got into, like, the idea of the story from Alex's point of view, and he's Ophelia. And so I was like, what if he had a blog? And also part of it was like, there's scenes from the play that I couldn't do in the show that I still wanted to, like, exist somewhere, but I didn't want to write, like, Hamlet bonus canon like I did for Tajwash, because it's not that much canon to write bonus canon. So then I was like, oh, what if he had a blog? But then I was like, I don't want him to be the only one with a blog. So then I made Rachel and Hamlet blogs. So, and it was like, I planned out all the posts beforehand. That's how you should do it. Although it's harder if your show's longer. Hamlet was very short, so it was much easier. And also, by the end, 2 out of 3 people with blogs were dead, so I didn't have to worry about, like, an excuse for them to stop posting. But, like, that was the best part about it. I was like, well, now they're done. So I wrote most of Alex's posts beforehand. I wrote a lot of, like, Hamlet's posts beforehand. Well, hers were all poetry, so that was easy. Because some of it she read on the show. And so then I just, like, was ready for it. And I was queuing posts for months beforehand of just, like, reblogging stuff. And some of it I, like, timed right, that it was, like, where they were in their stories. I put a lot of effort into it. But then it was a lot smoother than, like, the Transmedia I'd done for Tajwash, because it was more planned, and then I could incorporate it into the plot of the show more. And I really didn't do it for people to interact with it. I think Twitter's a bit more for that. I did it for the plot, and so it's kind of like the Tumblrs were a different plot than the show, so you could watch the show without the blogs, but, like, if you read the blogs, you would get this whole other side to the story. And then it's mentioned in the show enough that, like, I was kind of, like, encouraging people to go look. Because it became a thing that it was like, oh, Alex's blog is secret, but then we find out about it. Spoiler alert, if you watch my show. But if you watch the show, you know they're going to find out, because it keeps being like, no one's going to find out. But yeah.
So that's probably a good point to kind of bring up how much plot should be included in the Transmedia. Because I think... Go, Jen.
Oh, I was just going to mention that, like, transitioning off of Shannon's. I was just going to say, you can't really do too much plot in just Transmedia because not everyone's going to follow it. So you basically can add, like, fun tidbits and stuff and, like, additional character interactions. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
It's gotta, like...
Man, it's been so long.
Be supplemental. Do you remember ye old days when you made a web series?
I'm trying to write a new one now. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Woo! I'm intrigued.
Webseries Digest exclusive.
Yes, I'm working on that. I'm about halfway through the script. But I was gonna say, I think for Notes by Christine, like, Ralph and Christine had, like, interactions for Valentine's Day, which you don't really have on the series, because it's not really important. Like, it doesn't advance the plot or anything. But it's just like, oh, that's adorable. Or, like, wow, that's really corny. But, however they take it, I don't think we had anything in Transmedia that would have only been accessible to Transmedia people.
Well, and that's like the fandom commenting on the videos. I mean, that's like okay, you're already watching the show if you scroll down and look at the comments you see. So it's not quite the same. But that is, like it's kind of plot, but, like, if you don't notice the comments, the show all makes sense.
It's interesting, though, because, like, a lot of people didn't realize that channel existed, even. So even that was, like, a supplemental, like, Transmedia account. Like, you don't really need it.
Yeah.
You just see, like, these creepy music videos dedicated to this random girl, and, like, him kidnapping her. But, like, you get tidbits of that, like, revealed on the main channel as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, Transmedia has to support.
Exactly.
And that's kind of with Hamlet, where I was like, I'm just gonna have the Transmedia be, like, its own story. Like, there were fun little things, but then I was like, okay, I can have kind of a story on the Transmedia, but you can watch the show without reading all that. Because we explain, like, the plot point of it existing. So. But, like, there's just enough of, like, oh, but maybe I should go check out the Transmedia. It's all about marketing, you know? And I kind of tried to do that in Tajwash, where I had us, like, mention Twitter to be like, go follow us on Twitter. But then I didn't do enough with the Twitter, so it didn't matter. But with Tajwash, it was a lot more of, like, oh, doing fun little things. Or, like, later on, in editing and posting, I'd be like, I'd kind of feel like, oh, I wish I had had this interaction or something, and so then I could do it on Twitter. But it still wasn't, like, important to the plot. Or sometimes I'd just take a funny picture and be like, they should tweet this. Like, man, a Coca-Cola truck on campus? Sherlock's gonna flip out. I remember that one. That's the only tweet I remember.
I mean, the entire awkward party.
Yeah, that was the last thing I did. That was, like, the
beautiful.
last hurrah.
And
that was just me staying up really late at night, being like, you know what? Why wouldn't they tweet from this party?
Twitter is God's gift to man, I'm pretty sure. I love Twitter so much.
Just Twitter, nothing else.
All right. Oh, just talking about Twitter. What are some programs that could help you better run Transmedia, especially if you have multiple accounts?
TweetDeck. That's what I use.
I'm old school and I didn't use any programs.
Yeah. I didn't until, like, the second season of Tajwash. I don't remember if I had it.
Wait, so what exactly is TweetDeck?
So you sign in with one Twitter account, and then from there you can, like, add other Twitter accounts. So you kind of have a main one, which is, like, the automatic one. And so then every time you sign into that Twitter account in TweetDeck, you can access all these other ones that you've added on. If you sign into just one of those other ones, then you have to add all the other ones to it. So you just have to remember which one is the main account. That's my issue. But, yeah, so then you have all these, like... It's not, like, super easy to navigate, because it's kind of hard because you have all of these accounts, but you can have it set up where you see, like, each of their timelines, you can see each of their replies, each of their tweets, whatever. Or you can set it up so you don't see all of them, and you just can tweet from them. And, yeah. And so then, like, when you make a tweet, this was always hard, it, like, automatically selects your main account, so then you gotta make sure you click the other one and unclick the first one. That was always my fear. I don't think I ever accidentally tweeted from the wrong one.
I have done that, but I tweeted as myself, not as a different character in the universe. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. And then you can schedule tweets. So that was nice. But so that's really nice, especially if you're doing something on Twitter that's a little bit more plot heavy. Like you're like, this needs to go up at this time. I didn't do that a lot, but sometimes it was like, oh, I don't want to forget to have this person tweet on their birthday, so let me schedule that.
And like with Hamlet, when you were doing a more
but Hamlet I didn't use Twitter.
Off-screen plot,
Tumblr. Yeah. But yeah.
And people who are familiar with Tumblr know the Tumblr queue system, and that you can schedule posts with that. So, but that's all internal in Tumblr, and since the hard part with that, I think, would be just making sure, again, you're sending it to the right account, and making sure it's all set up ahead of time. But
okay, another great thing that I used for Tajwash for compiling everything. And Lizzie Bennett used this, Storify. You can put social media posts in there in any order you want. So then someone can click through and, like, read the whole thing instead of clicking to different accounts and scrolling back or whatever. Like, if they're going back later and actually do want to read these social media things. So I did that for Tajwash. The only thing with Storify was that Tumblr posts, like, don't show up completely.
Oh, that's weird.
Like, you have to click through to read the whole post, and that was kind of weird. And so then for Hamlet, I started a Storify, but then it was like, no, this isn't going to work because you can't read the whole post in Storify. They have to click all of them anyway. So then I just used a Tumblr, and I just had to remember to reblog every post from the 3 accounts when they posted and do it in order and never miss a post because I wouldn't be able to go back and, like, put it back in the right order. So that was hard because there were a couple times where I forgot to reblog something, and then I had to delete, like, 4 posts and then do them again with that one in there. But that was just, like, I think people followed that account, but it wasn't really for following. It was for, like, to look at and be like, this is everything in order so that you don't miss anything. Because it's a little bit harder to look at a Tumblr account and, like, look at, like, it's different than looking at a Twitter account because there's all these reblogs that weren't really relevant.
Like Tumblr blogs in character don't follow just, like, plot points. Like, it's like a stream of consciousness sort of thing. So you have, like, pictures of puppies, but also like, oh, this is a major plot point about a character. Like,
yeah, that's probably when you start, like, a lot of people, even in normal Tumblrs, will have a tag, like, Sara speaks, or something like that. And so that would be something you'd probably want to utilize. Make sure you really utilize the tagging system so that someone who's going through can be like, okay, all the plot, and maybe you could put in the out-of-character Tumblr, all plot points are tagged with Hamlet speaks. So that way a person who just wants to get the relevant plot information could just go Hamlet Tumblr tag Hamlet speaks and then get all the plot.
Yeah, and I did stuff like that. I also did have on the blogs a note in the sidebar that said, like, out of character OOC, this is a blog for this web series, these people aren't real. And I did that at the end of a couple of the, like, worst Alex posts. I was like, he is not real. If you stumble across this Tumblr, nobody's dead. Nobody's gonna die. Like, I mean, I worded it a little bit better than that, but there were some posts where I was like, I don't want someone to stumble across this and be like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah, there's some specific, like, outing posts as well that I think you were like, Alex is not a real person, like, Alex is not in any danger.
But yeah, and I had a tag for each of their blogs that was like, these are, like, their original posts. Yeah.
I really wish that Tumblr didn't overwhelm me because I really like it, but I feel like if I really got into Tumblr, I would just never do anything else in my life. So I have to, like, confine it to just web series.
Welcome to my life.
When I'm, like, caught up on my Tumblr dash, I'm, like, sitting there wondering, literally, what did I do on the internet before I had a Tumblr account? Because I know
can't even remember.
I know I spent all my time on the internet, but I don't know what I did because I didn't have Tumblr. And that's
Neopets.
I think I bounced
Sometimes
between...
I open Facebook.
Yeah. I think before Tumblr, I bounced around to a lot of, like Neopets and Neopets-esque games.
Yeah.
Mayberry. Is it Mayberry? I was really into that one.
I don't know what that is.
It was run by the cereal company.
Okay, so here's
I swear there was. Okay, now I'm gonna look this up.
We've touched on what my problem with Transmedia is, which is that all I want to do is be on Tumblr, and I don't want to go on Twitter and check the accounts for all these characters, because I just want to sit on Tumblr all day. But then I'll follow characters on Tumblr, but like I said, it's a little bit harder to, like, keep track of characters on Tumblr. I know you love Twitter.
I do. I have the opposite problem. And I actually made my sister, who was directing Notes by Christine, run the Tumblr, because I was like, I'm not interested in this. I just want to be the tweets and 140 characters or less and leave it alone.
Millsberry. It was called Millsberry. It was run by General Mills.
Here's another thing that I think web series should utilize with Transmedia. Why not have a character who has a Neopets account? I mean, like, seems legit. I think that would be funny. Something like that.
I mean,
do people still play Neopets?
No, it was... yes. No, it was bought out by a company about...
Wait, are we talking about Neopets or Millsberry?
3 years ago now? Neopets.
Okay.
Millsberry closed down due to dwindling number of users, because it was run by
Webkins.
Webkins. But no one uses Webkins anymore. I don't even know if you can buy the freaking stuffed animals
And Club
anymore.
Penguin is dead. Is nothing
I was going to say
sacred.
R.I.P. Club Penguin.
I never played Club Penguin.
I played Club Penguin. So Millsberry was like, you created a person, and then you could like an avatar, but then you could like design their house and like fill it with like furniture and stuff, and you could purchase clothes items, and you could like play all these games, and they were all cereal themed games, and you could earn money through that. I liked that one better than I liked really any of the games. And well, Neopets is a Neopets.
I was going to say, if you're about to trash talk Neopets, we're going to have a problem, Sarah.
No, I love Neopets. I think Millsberry and Neopets were the one that I was like, the ones I was like into the longest, where I would go back.
Yeah.
Like, I would abandon them for a little while, but then I'd always come back to them. Like, Club Penguin, once I left, I left. Yeah. Webkins, once I left, I left. All the other ones not all the other ones, but Millsberry and Neopets, I kept on going back to. I could probably open up my Neopets account now and get into it for like 3 months again. But they were recently bought out. Like 2 years ago they were bought out, and I remember there was this humongous scandal where they just stopped all moderation on their forums, and it just went to hell, as you would expect when all moderation stops on forums. And I don't know if anything has happened since with that. But yeah, so
what are social media sites that are the best for Transmedia, or ones that like aren't utilized but maybe should be?
I mean, we talked a little bit about Instagram.
Yeah. And Instagram's hard, but I think if you can do it, you should do it.
Is there
Snapchat?
Snapchat.
Oh, Jen.
But I don't know if there's an easy way to switch between Instagram accounts. Is there? Because I'm not aware of one. Because Twitter, you can just like click the little ... in the corner and just flip to your other Twitter accounts. But Instagram, I feel like you have to actually log in, log out every time.
Yeah, you do on Instagram.
That would be difficult. There's probably someone has set up a system where you can post across multiple accounts on Instagram, but it would be
I don't know of one. I'm not sure if there's one actually.
Let me search that right now on my phone.
But there is not a system to schedule posts on Instagram. I know that. Like, no one has been able to set that up.
But I think,
and because that's another thing,
I think Instagram would be a great transmedia outlet, just because it's so popular right now, and it's like, if you're doing a web series, you're already doing like a visual platform, and this will just add to it.
It makes it feel even more
You
real.
can schedule Instagram posts through Hootsuite.
Oh, I don't like Hootsuite. I don't remember why, but I remember that I didn't like it when I tried
There's several blog posts and stuff. If you just Google scheduling Instagram posts that are popping up. Add and switch between multiple accounts on the Instagram Helps Center. You can now add up to 5 Instagram accounts and quickly switch between them without having to log out and log back in.
Oh, that's good to know.
That's new. That sounds familiar
when you add multiple Instagram accounts, go to your profile and tap the gears or the gear symbol or the dot symbol, depending on if you have iPhone or Android. Scroll to the bottom and tap Add Account. Enter the username and password of the account you'd like to add. To switch between the accounts you've added, go to your profile, tap your username at the top of the screen, tap the account you'd like to switch to. Note you can add up to 5 accounts.
Okay.
Good to know.
So there's no excuse then?
No.
Yeah.
Unless you can't figure it out because you're technology deficient like I am.
Yeah.
Like, it was all it could take for me to turn on this microphone and make the sound work. So...
Good for you. You did that.
So, people should use Instagram. I mean, Twitter is definitely the best one, and that's the one people use the most.
Vine, before Vine died, had real potential, and no one ever used it. But then now it's dead.
I feel like Vine is too close to a video format. I don't know if it's necessary. That's what I was going to say about Snapchat.
That's true.
Sorry.
Snapchat, yeah.
Snapchat you couldn't. I don't think you could utilize Snapchat for transmedia.
People have, though.
Who?
Like, did Ingrid use it? Or did she use Vine?
It might have been Vine.
She used something for Cyrus.
I just feel like Snapchat would just, because you couldn't save you can save the Snapchat videos, but it would be like, why would you follow the account if they're just going to be uploaded onto Tumblr or something?
Yeah.
Like Vine I could see. Snapchat I can't. And again, now that Vine's dead, I mean, now you can do videos on Instagram, and we just discussed how you can utilize Instagram. Yeah. So that would probably, you could just use Instagram. No one ever did, an entire web series on Vine, which you totally could have done.
Oh, wow.
And now it's
That's
dead,
true.
so you can't do it anymore.
Well, I guess it's
Hey,
good
you
then,
could do an entire web series on Instagram.
It might be gone. Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lonely Girl 15 it up.
Circa 2017.
Yeah. Facebook. Nobody uses Facebook for transmedia that I know of. Because you could have, a character have a public profile.
I think it's because there's too many
things.
Facebook is a little too real world, I think. If that makes sense.
And it'd be hard, whereas with other social media accounts, it's a little bit easier to justify why it didn't exist before. It's harder to justify why this person suddenly made a Facebook. In 2017 and didn't have one.
Years and years before.
Yeah. I actually knew a bunch of people who did, it wasn't a web series. They did maybe it was. I don't know. It was some sort of filmed project. I think it was a theater project, but they made actual Facebook accounts for all of their characters. But you had to friend them. So in order for that, you'd have to know it existed. Then you would have to friend them and, actually be part of it. And also you're seeing this and you're like, hey, is my friend, getting their profile hacked and being catfished? So it was kind of confusing, so I don't know that Facebook would work.
Yeah.
Again, I think it goes back to Facebook being a little too real life. People have, everyone has their family on there. They have coworkers now. Yeah. I think it would have worked back in the day when, the more younger people were on Facebook, But now it's everyone and their grandma is on Facebook, and there's already so much... I don't want to say drama, but there's a lot of, stuff, not drama. There's current event stuff going along with, fake news on Facebook, and,
it's too big.
Yeah, it's too big, and there's too,
I mean, even just the profile, it's not just a simple matter of making posts. You'd have to have photos in there, more than just one photo. You have to have all this information about them to make it make
And also,
sense.
if you made, an actual...
if you don't have...
Facebook account for them, are they really only gonna have 3 friends that are the 3 people in your series? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You'd have to construct an entire world on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work in the culture that Facebook has.
Yeah. Any other social media? Pinterest? Someone could do that. Someone probably has done that.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's another, like, Lizzie Bennett one that we've missed, is, like, someone had a Pinterest. Like, a Pinterest would be really easy.
It wouldn't be as, personal, though. Because Pinterest, you don't really make, like, life posts.
No.
But, I mean, it could be fun.
It could be fun.
If you like Pinterest, like, then, and you want to make your character Pinterest, then I think that would be cute.
Yeah, and especially if it makes sense with the characters. I think it would be, like, one of those things where, like, one character might use their Pinterest. I sometimes use Pinterest, but it's mostly, like, curtailing, like...
That's the other thing with Pinterest, is there's not really, like, interacting with other people the same way. Like, you can send messages, but, like, you wouldn't be able to really watch other characters interact with each other.
No, it might be fun for, like, a creator to put together, like going back to Hamlet, like a Hamlet aesthetic board, or like or like a Moriarty aesthetic board. Like, that could be
I
fun
know that
for a creator to put together.
Yeah, in terms of, like, pre-production, I think Pinterest is great. I know that for Uncanny Upstairs, I think Jules mentioned that she made Pinterest boards for our characters in terms of, like, outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it'd work for a
that's a good
transmedia
idea.
aspect. I think it's great for pre-pro, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is great, because Jen's going to be on the pre-production
Yay!
episode that we're recording tomorrow. Yeah, which will be...
She was already on it, I believe, in fact.
Yes, actually, because it's episode 2, but we're recording this out of order, so... Despite the fact that I was like, when I started recording, I was like, we're going to record in order, it's going to be great, it's going to make sense.
Yeah.
That didn't
Whatever, that's the same way you
happen.
film a web series. You're like, yeah, we're going to film this in order, and then it's like, maybe I'm not. So...
Wow, it's relevant. But yeah, so... But yeah, so... We've talked with her and Daisy about
Yay.
pre-production.
Yeah, that was such a great episode to listen to.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
I've
what
definitely
you guys had to say.
talked to Daisy
Yep.
before. Yes, for sure.
Yep. Yep. All this has happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... I'm like, this is going to be one of the shorter episodes because there's not...
Transmedia is a smaller... Well, I don't want to say a smaller aspect. I don't want to, like...
It's a very
diminish
niche part
the
of web
importance of
series.
it if it's important to your
Yeah.
web series. Because it is very much the thing that, like, made this era of web series. But it is a smaller part in a way. Like, because it's kind of part of pre-production and production, but, like, it was too big of a thing to put in one of those episodes, but...
Yeah, basically it's like, like you just said.
And it's kind of writing, too. Like, it's this weird thing that because it doesn't happen in any other form of media. It doesn't happen with, like, films and TV, really. I mean, I'm sure someone has done something, but...
Yeah, no, I mean, the closest you get to in the mainstream is, like, you know, Welcome to Night Vale. Their official Twitter account
is, like,
it kind of mixes
the Night Vale world.
Yes, it kind of mixes
Vale,
transmedia
I wouldn't
and
call mainstream.
Well,
but no, I mean podcasts are like they're the web series for radio. Like, web series is to TV what podcasts are to radio. Like, podcasts.
I love when we make these connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
like,
say that Night Vale is mainstream.
I mean, Night Vale is like a mainstream podcast, but, like, podcasts, I mean, I don't want to say they're not mainstream. They, like, are, but not in the same way that film and television is.
I would say the fact that, like, Welcome to Night Vale has published, like, at least one book. I think they have a second book coming out. Yeah, they've published books, and they're, like, I think they are probably the most popular podcast. I mean, someone probably has numbers, but currently. But
they're not the most popular podcast.
You want to fucking go, man?
There are a lot of podcasts. I know. I mean, they're very popular.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, the books, that's kind of like their version of transmedia in a way. And the Twitter account. But, and again, it's like, I mean, the Twitter account is, like, exists. I mean, it, like, acts as though it is in the world, but it's not a character, and it's not plot related.
It
but
posts,
it's
like,
interesting.
It posts, like, similarly themed tweets.
And then the books are not connected to the overarching plot.
They just kind of expand the canon.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You know, okay. As of the time that we are recording, I am in Twin Peaks hell. Because the revival just came out. But Twin Peaks did books, and Twin Peaks did... I mean,
if we're gonna talk about books,
like,
tons of things do books.
I know, like, tie-in books. They also did tie-in audio recordings, and...
Yeah.
So it's like...
I mean, Doctor Who's been doing that since the 60s.
Yeah, so it's like, what is media?
Yeah, what is
Wow, we brought it back full circle. But, so, I guess, so what we've discovered through this podcast is Transmedia is just the tie-in for your web series.
It's just like books, but you get them in real time, and it's shorter and easier to read.
Whoa!
I was gonna say it's like books, but
honestly,
fun,
this
but
is
I
like...
love books, so that didn't make sense.
No, I'm like...
This is
legit, like, blowing my mind a little bit, because I'm like, I never considered the fact that it's, like, the Tumblr is the tie-in novel, the Tumblr is the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer.
Yeah, the Tumblr is the EU.
My Tumblr is Mara Jade.
We're gonna declare that the Tumblr is no longer canon before this.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna frickin' fight all of Disney if Mara Jade isn't canon. Frickin' Kylo Ren is kind of Jason Solo, and there's no Mara Jade. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna punch the moon.
That was a great episode. I'm wrapping it up for you.
No, don't.
We can't keep going.
I could talk. Now, I'm sorry, guys. This has become the Mara Jade podcast.
It's for another podcast.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah. She's a character in the Star Wars Extended Universe.
She's Luke Skywalker's wife. She's a red-headed lady assassin.
I wish you guys could see the face Shannen just
has
made.
Overcome... who is overcoming her brainwashing, and yeah, she's great. Does she sound familiar at all? You know, a certain Marvel character I love and adore.
She's Black Widow,
except
but she's in Star Wars.
Yeah, because Black Widow came first.
Yep.
Mara didn't happen until the 1990s, and Black Widow.
What came first, the Black Widow or Mara Jade?
Black Widow, because Black Widow's comic came out in 1964. Was the first comic with Natasha in it.
So comics that connect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe are Transmedia.
Dun dun dun.
Whoa! There are some though that directly connect to the movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's some that are like AU of the the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comics.
It's all Transmedia.
Yeah, it's all Transmedia. All tie-ins are Transmedia, guys. This is what we've learned in this podcast.
I think it's a really interesting thing.
Yeah. I'm just like, I can't believe that no one's ever said this before. Like,
I mean,
or someone might have.
Like, or actually, here's a 20,000 note post on Tumblr about this.
Great. I've never seen it before, and I will reblog it and tag it with, holy shit, someone else had this idea. But so it's just like, my mind's a little blown right now, and also I'm thinking about Mara Jade, and I get really emotional.
So basically what it gets down to is people have always wanted extra content about media.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean...
Especially if the media gets canceled 2 seasons in, and you have to wait 25 years for the 3rd.
I mean, it's like...
Twin Peaks.
That's why people write fan fiction.
Oh my god.
So that's why people like Transmedia, because otherwise they would just be writing that fan fiction. So now they get to consume more.
And they don't have to. But then it's actual canon, because the creator has created it.
Which sometimes isn't necessarily good, but... yeah. Mm-hmm. All Transmedia is the Star Wars Christmas special.
It's a Star Wars Christmas special?
That's a good one.
Oh yeah,
it's
there
canon.
is. The Star Wars
Oh my God.
Christmas special.
She doesn't know about the Star Wars Christmas special.
I mean, I've never watched it.
It's apparently like...
It's really bad, and it was made after A New Hope. And it doesn't exist anymore.
That's okay.
You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
They
visit Chewbacca's family.
My friend Naomi in high school watched it, and she said there's literally a 20-minute sequence where they're speaking in... where all the speaking is only in Wookiee.
I'm for that.
But there's no subtitles.
Send the link to me.
And apparently at one point, the grandfather Wookiee goes on an acid trip.
What?
Because it's the 70s, and these things happen. And, like, dreams basically a sexy acid dream girl. But he's a Wookiee, and she's, like, a human girl. I don't know. I've never watched it.
I was on board until the acid dream.
But that's what Transmedia is.
Acid dreams. In
yeah.
Wookiee form. Transmedia.
Mm-hmm.
The end. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Alright. So, it's been a while since I've recorded one of these, and I don't remember how I sign off. I think...
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, well, thanks for listening, guys. And I can't remember if I ask you guys if you're doing anything in the future or not.
Probably.
So...
But by this point, we've both been on it.
That's true.
So they already know.
But what, like...
If they don't know, then, like, that's their problem.
Yeah, they've been skipping around. You should be listening to it from beginning to end.
Yeah, just like how we're recording it.
As I meant to record it. Yeah.
This is Transmedia to all podcasts. To all web series, is what I meant to say, but also all
Whoa.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the point... Yeah.
Well, what if someone made a web series and then their Transmedia was a podcast?
Dude.
Or a podcast and their Transmedia was a web series?
Dude, what if in Gay Pride and Prejudice... because I'm gonna have Jane Austen be a character and doing all the social media, what if you and I are fake fans of her creation and we make a podcast where we talk about every single episode of Gay Pride and Prejudice?
That would be actually really funny, and I think we should do that.
I really
like that idea.
First, folks.
Let's do it. Okay. Side note, Jennifer, I'm making Gay Pride and Prejudice. It's coming 2048.
Yes.
And it's going to be
Sara,
incredible, and I will tell you more about it.
I don't think I'm making it to 2048. I don't think I'm making it to 2019, if I'm perfectly honest. Like...
No, Jen.
No, Jen. Let's be real. Neither are me and
we're all going to be in
Shannon,
the Hunger Games.
considering our current financial states.
I was assuming we're all going to be in the Hunger Games by that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, listeners. I appreciate each and every single one of you. The one person, the three people that I know are probably listening. I know of one because who is hopefully listening because she's planning on making her own web series, and then I'm hoping some fans end up here being like, how do our people make web series? Yeah. Now you can know.
And if you guys have any more questions or stuff, definitely send us a tweet, or more specifically me, because I love tweets.
Yeah. Tweet at Jen.
Yeah.
No, tweet at me.
I'll link Jen's Twitter below, and I'll link the Moriarty Twitter below, and I'll link...
Tweet at Moriarty.
I'll link all the Storyfies below and everything, all the stuff we mentioned. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Alrighty. It's been good talking to you, Jen. It's been good talking to you, Shannon, we don't live in the same apartment.
Goodbye.
Bye.